Michelle, I learned a new concept about mission that's very accurate, kind of technical, but I like it. It's glocal mission.
Glocal? What does glocal mean, Steve?
So it means like global and local. So therefore, glocal.
I like it. It matches perfectly because that's how missions should be, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. That's the point. Our call is to be glocal, which involves local responsibility and global needs. In other words, we should act locally, but we should think and support globally.
Right. As Ellen White said, the world is our field of missionary toil. We are called to preach the gospel to all the world.
Global mission is huge, and we can understand that when we compare the world population with the current Seventh-day Adventist membership. In November of 2022, the earth reached 8 billion people, and our denomination reached 22 million members. Of course, we can celebrate 22 million members, but how will 22 million Seventh-day Adventists reach 8 billion people? It seems impossible. And every year, the population of the world grows by about 72 million, and we as Seventh-day Adventists only add about 1 million.
I know, and the challenge gets even bigger when we consider that there are around 7,100 languages worldwide, but the Adventist Church works in only 500. Have you ever thought about the thousands of languages in which we do not communicate the truth?
What a work. I mean, what are we waiting for? Jesus is coming soon, while a great percentage of the world's population has never heard about the first one. Our number one challenge, if we look at the world, is the 1040 window. This area represents about 60% of the world's population. But in that same area, there are only about 3 million Seventh-day Adventists. And it's an area of extreme poverty where there are huge religions of the world, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. The reality of our church in this region is very complex.
And we have more. Missiologists expand the number of challenging windows. We not only have the 1040 window, but also the post-Christian window and the urban window. So the post-Christian window includes Europe, the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and many other countries that are rapidly moving away from a Christian worldview. Post-Christians' secular philosophy believes that the best is in the present life and not in the life to come.
So they believe that faith is a cultural limitation and it's intellectually backwards.
Right. The urban window also challenges our mission. This window includes the world's top 10 large urban areas: Tokyo, Delhi, Shanghai, Cairo, etc. But from that list, only Sao Paulo and Mexico City have a significant Adventist presence. More than 500 cities in the world have more than 1 million inhabitants, with an average of 1 Adventist for every 89,000 inhabitants. How will we reach the people in these huge cities?
You know, I believe that the key to reaching everyone is that we need everybody involved. All church members must get involved in mission somehow. We have this great work to do, but we have to do it together somehow.
That's right, Steve. The global mission before us is humanly impossible, but the good news is that it is not ours. We are God's instruments for his mission. He has been and will continue leading until salvation is brought to the ends of the earth.
God's mission has never changed. He's still in the business of reaching and transforming the hearts and minds of those who have never heard about him, whether in the United States or the furthest countries of Asia, the largest cities on the planet, or the little town you live in. Are you ready to be part of God's mission?
In order to finish spreading the gospel to the whole world, we need total member involvement. Pastors, while vital, represent only a small fraction of God's church and cannot finish the work alone. 99.9% of the global church are lay members, an immense army of God waiting to be mobilized. But what good is an army if it's not trained? While theology institutes and seminaries are great for pastors, where can lay members receive training for service? Today we'll explore the crucial role of mission schools in equipping lay members for God's work. Throughout history, periods of revival and growth among God's people have always been accompanied by thriving mission schools. This dates back to the schools of the prophets established by Samuel. He trained lay people in mission work and the teachings of the prophets. The book Education highlights, these schools were intended to serve as a barrier against the wide-spreading corruption and to provide for the mental and spiritual welfare of the youth. In no small degree, they aided in laying the foundation of that marvelous prosperity which distinguished the reigns of David and Solomon. Notice the profound impact that lay people and young people can have on God's church. Could widespread mission schools yield similar results today? Consider the early church, where the gospel reached every creature under heaven and within just 30 years. How is that possible? Was it solely the work of ordained preachers? Not at all. Peter referred to new believers as a royal priesthood, and Paul recognized the importance of every believer working for God. He invested significant time in training new believers. In Acts 18, Paul spent 18 months in Corinth offering training in the house of justice while engaging in public evangelism and supporting themselves through tent making. This successful model was replicated, as seen in Acts 19, where Paul spent 2 years in Ephesus training believers in the school of Tyrannus. Today, mission schools play an essential role in equipping lay members for God's work and are instrumental to the success of His remnant church. If you're interested in receiving training yourself or supporting one of these mission schools, please visit outpostcenters.org, where you'll find over 100 mission schools worldwide.
If you know what God wants you to do, then you cannot fail. However, succeeding in raising a ministry demands knowledge and talent, supplemented by godly counsel based on practical experience. Start Right will provide the impetus needed to make an informed start. Therefore, be diligent to present yourself approved to God. A worker who does not need to be ashamed. You cannot but succeed. Download it now.
Today's story comes from Butler Creek Health Education Center in Tennessee, United States of America. Butler Creek Health Education Center is a small lifestyle center and training school established in 1999. Butler Creek offers 2 main programs, a lifestyle and an apprenticeship program. The lifestyle program focuses on lifestyle disease prevention and recovery, mental health and wellness, and addiction recovery. Through simple lifestyle changes, natural remedies, and above all, a vital connection with the Creator, men and women of all ages have experienced renewed health and spiritual vigor. The Practical Health Apprenticeship Program is designed to train aspiring medical missionaries as lifestyle coaches or hygienic cooks ready to serve in the Lord's vineyard. Butler Creek's mission is to encourage individuals to give the gospel call through sound Bible teaching, health ministry, and practical living. Now let's see what they have to share.
My name is Sean. I'm from Southern California. I was born and raised Adventist. I grew up, in the church. I lived a really good life. I have 2 of the most amazing parents. I went to Christian high school, and that's when I started drinking a little bit and smoking, and just on the weekends. And when I was about 17 or 18 in hockey, I had kind of my first injury where I hurt my shoulder, and they prescribed me painkillers, and I took them as prescribed. But from that point on, I just liked the feeling. And as my prescription ran out, then I started getting them off the streets and through friends and stuff. And I was partying a lot and going out and going on a lot of lake trips and river trips and Vegas. And my life just from that point on just started to become addicted to drugs, really, the painkillers. I blew through like most of my money just on drugs basically. And, I got away with it, but I still had a job and I was working. They call people a functioning alcoholic. I was a functioning drug addict, I guess. I still was able to live my life, but I kept it from a lot of people. My parents didn't really know. And then when I was 22 or 23, I finally just had to tell my mom. I said, Mom, I need help. So I went to a rehab at a hospital and, to detox and go through all that. My mom wasn't happy. My dad was not happy at all, just for the fact that he's like, what are you doing? And, but I just told him, I had a problem. I needed help. I'm sorry I didn't come to you guys earlier. So I went in there for, to come off of painkillers. And that's when I got introduced to smoking heroin. So I went in there for 12 days and then it turned into that because it was a little bit cheaper, it was a little bit more accessible to get at that time. For 10 years probably, or I was just addicted to that. It was just not good for me. So my mom contacted one of our associate pastors at our local home church, and he recommended a place out in Tennessee called Wildwood. And my mom had called and reached out to them, and then they referred her, me to Butler Creek out here in Tennessee as well. So we went through the process. They weren't sure if they could take me, and so I came here to Butler Creek to do their 30-day program. What's crazy too is about 6 months prior to coming here at that time, I decided for whatever reason, I know now, looking back at it now, I know it was the Holy Spirit impressing it on my heart to stop eating chicken and meat. Because coming here, I still ate junk, I guess, not horrible things, but just what we eat here, just whole food, plant-based, so I could tell the Lord was really kind of training me for this place in a sense. And then you go on digestive walks, after breakfast and after lunch, and then we have devotion, and then we have what we call useful hands. And it's just, going out into the farm or cutting wood outside just to kind of get fresh air. And then we do exercise. Days were kind of rough, but it's good. There's just the structure. The structure is so helpful to finally do something that I really enjoy, and purposeful and productive in my life. Butler Creek has been just such a blessing to me. Hope and pray that more people will open more ministries like this. A lot of people don't know. They don't know a lot of this information. And I'm talking about a lot of Adventists too, just because a lot of people need help and they need the knowledge, and just to be able to change lives, and to live a healthy, productive life has just been such a blessing.
What an amazing testimony. From drug addict to farm manager. Oh, it's a blessing to have ministries with consecrated and committed people who love souls and work hard to help them restore their lives. We need more ministries. We need more people involved in mission and more financial support as well. We can't advance the work without it. As we talked about earlier, we can do mission locally and support the mission globally. Your gifts can help missionaries enter the unreached areas of the world, help families establish new ministries, help Bible workers establish churches, and so on. I invite you to pray and to consider supporting God's mission through OCI and its ministries. Here at Outpost Centers International, we are committed to lighting up the world, and we want to do it with you. Please get in touch with us so that we can work together to accomplish God's mission. Your participation, your prayers, and your gifts will make a difference.